Okay, so whenever we install Python, I was showing you the installation of Python in the last class. So select any version of Python. Python 3.10 is the latest version. Go to this python.org website. Go to the downloads folder and download one Python version like 3.10. While installing, give the path. By default, it will be a very big path. Don't give the path. Remove all that big path and specify your path. Just applying the C drive. So if you once it get installed, go to the start programs. Check in this list. Python will be available. P 3.10 ideally, right? Yes. If I discuss about data types now, then my discussion will be on data types. Python data types. Python data types. Every organization, right? Every organization use case has got data and operate. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Has got data and operations, right? Generally, data represented, right? Data represented using data types or variables. Yes, there is no run option in my Payal boss. Can you share your screen? Can anyone please confirm? Have you received the videos in your Google Drive? STS video. Can you please confirm?
Only on the date of 6th and 7th we have received. 8th, 9th we have not received. I have not received, sir.
Same here.
Nobody has received?
No. Only 6th and 7th are there. And after that, yesterday and day before yesterday was missing.
I received, sir, but it's not open.
Yesterday's and day before yesterday's?
Yesterday only.
Yesterday's video you have received, you're saying?
I have received, but I am trying to open, but the video cannot open. It will come.
It takes time, little bit time. Why? It takes little bit time to open.
Okay.
Right. Okay. One second. The others also you can check you in your Google Drives, right? They have got
No, Vijay, on the date of 6th and 7th only.
only on 6th and 7th they are uploaded. To your Gmails also you didn't get?
No.
No?
Hello.
But some of them saying they have received, right? Fine. Okay.
Sir, hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We did not come, sir.
So you can check in that YouTube playlist, right? can see that YouTube playlist by it was posted in the chat panel now by DURGASOFT, right? Can you see
Okay.
that? Can you see that everyone? Can you see that YouTube playlist posted by this DURGASOFT online team? You can click that and YouTube in the YouTube we can just check those videos, right? YouTube links are provided playlist. So you can just check this YouTube playlist, right? 1 second. Okay, so these things it is given in the chart panel. You can see all these videos. Demo 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Vijay, all the videos in the YouTube, you are uploading?
No, no, no. It won't be uploaded. Only that first 5 videos only.
Okay.
But later you'll be getting to your Google Drive, right? Fine.
But sir, I am not getting the videos.
Hold on. So you can check these videos in this YouTube playlist, right? So already it was forwarded to your Google Drive, shared with my option. You can check in that if you have given the correct mail IDs. Otherwise, later once you got enrolled registered, that WhatsApp group will be created. If you have got any problems, everything will be rectified by the online team. So okay, meanwhile you can just check in this YouTube. Otherwise, the links will be provided. Even in the chart panel now, they will provide you the links. Right? Okay, not now. Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll just sort out the problem. So, okay, fine. If your mail ID is wrong or if you updated with the other mail IDs, everything will be taken care, right? Yes. Okay, fine. Meanwhile, you can check in this YouTube, right? Data, see, every organization use case has got data and operations, data represented using data types and variables. Data represented using data types or variables, right? Data represented using data types or variables. Operations represented using functions. Operations represented using functions. Okay. So just observe this diagram. If I take any organization like a bank, right? Bank consists of customers and employees, right? Customers and employees. Customers has got data and operations. Data and operations. Okay. Bank data and operations, right? Data means like customer name Ajay, account number, balance 90,000, branch Hyderabad. So this is what customer data represented using data types or variables. Okay, and here also employees has got data, employee ID 101, employee name Ajay, salary designation manager. It's like data types, operations. See what is that customer data, customer operations means deposit operation, withdraw operation, transfer operation, right? Represented using functions. Deposit, withdraw, transfer, right? Yes. This also data and using variables and data types, right? This data represented using data types or variables. This operations like calculating tax, calculating net salary, right? Represented using functions. Okay. Okay, data represented using data types or variables, operations using functions. Here also imply data using data types or variables, operations using functions, right? Yes. Fine. Okay, now just if we compare C or C++ or Java, right? C or C++ or Java with Python. Python supports dynamic data types. We got dynamic data types in Python. X value is 10. X value is 10, right? Yes. Compulsory in the case of C, C++ or Java. In other programming languages, compulsory we need to say int X. Y equal to 4.5 means compulsory I should say float Y. Z equal to hello means string Z I need to say. Without this data type defining, right? Without this data type defining, okay, without this data types, right? We cannot create this variable X, Y, Z in other programming languages without this data type defining. We cannot create these variables X, Y, Z. But in Python, no need to define this data type. Directly we say X as 10, Y as 4.5, Z as hello. No need to define this data types. Here, what kind of variable X is means integer type because you have defined integer. What kind of variable Y is means it is float type. What kind of variable Z is means string type. Type of X, what type? Integer type. Type of Y, what type? float type. Type of Z, string type.
Sir, how about the memory allocated, sir?
How is the?
Memory allocation, like character 1 byte, like that in Python.
Okay, so in other programming language, like integer occupying, for example, in C language, integer occupying 2 bytes, like in Java, like it is occupying. But in the case of Python, right, there is no specific size because if you observe this in interactive mode, if whenever I open this ideally, you will get in interactive mode x equal to 10. Yes, that's fine. If I say x, it prints 10. See the type, there is a function called type function. Type of x is what type? Class int. Int, class int. Y equal to 4.5 if I'm assigning, right? That's enough. No need to define the data types here. If I want to know what type it is, there is a type function in Python. 4.5, what type? Float type, class float. So here everything is a class in Python. Int is a class, float is a class. All those are classes in Python. Class won't have a fixed size, right? So here in Python, everything. So here we have got type function. So why it is integer type? Because you have assigned integer value. Why it is float value means you have assigned a float value to y. You have assigned a string value. So based upon what value you are assigning, right, to x, y, z, the variables are created accordingly, right? The variables are created accordingly. If you're assigning integer, integer type is created dynamically during runtime. If you're assigning a float value, float variable is created dynamically during runtime. If you're assigning a string value, string variable is created dynamically, right? Yes.
You mentioned that everything is in Python, everything is of class type.
Yeah, everything is a class. Int, float, string, list, all these are classes in Python. They doesn't have any fixed size. So now I'm going to discuss 4 cases, understand these 4 cases. What happens exactly, what happens internally, how this memory is allocated, how to print its address, how to print its content, how to print it, its type, right? So 4 cases I'll be discussing, case 1, 2, 3, and 4. Case 1. I'll just show you all these things practically, right? X equal to 10. X equal to 10. Whenever you say x equal to 10, an object is going to get created. An object is going to get created, right? In with value 10. An object is created with object value 10, right? It is going to have some address. The address is given to x. Whenever I say x equal to 10, right? Whenever I say x equal to 10, an object is going to get created with value 10. It is going to occupy some address, right? It is going to occupy some address. Okay. Okay, fine. So here print x, three things you need to understand here. Print x, print id of x, print type of x. So here I've got some couple of queries here. Try to understand this carefully. These are important. What happens internally whenever you define some variables, right? X equal to 10. Whenever I say x equal to 10, right? Whenever I define x equal to 10, what x is storing? Try to answer. What x is storing?
Ten.
An integer value.
What x is storing means don't say like x is storing 10. Don't say that x is storing 10. X stores the address.
Sir, I think sometimes audio is losing, sir. Hello.
Fine. So x stores. Now is it clear, right, for everyone? Hello, can anyone please confirm whether my audio is clear now?
Yes, sir.
Sir, clear, sir.
So here, whenever I say x equal to 10, whenever you define some value to a variable, right? Whenever you assign a value to a variable, right? Print x, id of x, type of x. Prints the content at that address. Prints the content at that address. What is the generally see it goes x equal to 10 means don't say that what x is storing means don't say like x is storing 10. X stores the address. Whenever I say print x, it goes to this address and prints the content at that address. So print x means prints the content at that address. What is the content at that address means 10. If I want to print the address, there is a function called id function, id of x. Print id of x. Print id of x. Prints the address, right? Prints the address of x. Address of x is what? 103070, right? Prints the address of x. Print type of x, prints the data type of x. Data type of x is means what type?
Int.
Int type. Prints the content at that address, prints the address of x, prints the data type of x. What type it is? Integer type, right? What type it is? Integer type. So you need to understand how to print the content, how to print the address, how to print the type. Now, from here on, I want the sessions to be interactive. So everyone try to respond through voice or through chat panel, right? So whether your answers are correct or wrong, just keep responding for the sessions to be active. Fine. So case 2, if I just go to this case 2, right? Yes. Case 2. X value is 10, Y value is 20. X value is 10, Y value is 20, right? Yes. How many objects are going to get created internally? Try to answer.
2.
For 10, one object. For 20, another object, right? Two objects. It is going to have some address. Generally, if you are storing any, it's going to occupy some address. Y equal to 20 also going to have some address. So if you have got some background noise, please try to give a response through chart panel. Fine. So here two objects are created, right? Two objects are created. Yes. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects with the two different addresses. These things you need to understand, right? Whenever you define two variables with two values, then two objects with two addresses gets created. Everyone try to answer, right? Print X. What is the X value? Goes to that address and prints the content at that address.
10.
10, right? Yes. Address of X. 103070. Type of X. Type of X is what type? Int type. So here print Y means print Y. Address means where exactly it is stored in the memory. What do you mean by address? Where exactly it is stored in the memory, that memory address location it is going to return. Print Y means 20. Print address of Y. Address of Y 104080. Type of Y. Yes, type of Y. What type? Int type, right? Type of Y is what type? Int type. Type of Y. What type? Int type. So understood this case to write everyone, two different variables with two different values, two different objects with two different addresses. Now observe this case 3, right? X is 10. X is 10, Y is 10. Now try to answer it, everyone. How many objects are going to get created?
Two objects.
Yeah, everyone try to answer it. Everyone. I want responses from everyone.
One object it will create.
One object.
Two objects, sir.
So here observe carefully. Only one object is going to get created. So internally, what is happening? You need to know, right? So one object. Generally, if you are storing a movie in your system, right, it is going to occupy some space address, right? Here also, whenever you are say X equal to 10, it's going to occupy some address location. Assume this is the address. So before you create, right, before, okay, observe this 103070, 103070, right? Yes. So before you create object for y equal to 10, right? Before you create object for y, it checks any object with value 10 is already available. If available, it's already available, right? Object 10. Any object with value 10, if it is already available in the memory, then the same address is going to be given to y. X is 10, y is 10, z is 10. Don't think like 3 objects with value 10s are going to get created. No, only one object and its address is given to x, y, and z. And its addresses are given to x, y, and z.
Is it like this only in Python, sir?
So in Python, whenever you are creating any objects, like here I'm talking objects. In Python, it's a class and object. They are everything, or they are class and objects. In other programming, they are data types, right? But in Python, either if you are taking integers, see here, x is 10, y is 20, z is 30. 3 different values. How many objects? How many objects getting created?
3
Three objects.
3 objects. Means what is your understanding here? I'll show you all these things practically, right, in today's session itself. So if x is 10, y is 20, z is 33. If values are different, 3 objects with 3 addresses. If the values are same, only one object and only one address, right?
Sir, quick question. See, you said like, Python follows the sequential order of processing, right? So here, initially we have defined x is equal to 10, and later we defined y is equal to 10. So the cursor goes back to start a program and check.
So x is 10, y is 20. Okay, you are saying like this. X in the first line, x equal to 10. 1 second.
After 10 lines, after 10 lines, I defined y is equal to 10. So in this case, so the cursor again moves back to the whole program start, search from the start. Is that how it works?
Now, for example, x is 10, y is 20, z is 30. Assume for 10, one object creates. For 20, one object creates. For 30, one object creates. So whenever you say x, right, whenever you say print x here, so these are going to have some address. Assume this is the address. This is going to have some address. This is going to have some address. Whenever you say print x, right, it will immediately points to this address. It just goes to that address first and prints whatever present there, whatever is presented there. Whenever you say print y, right, it immediately goes to this address and whatever present within that address prints 20. Similarly, print z, it goes to that address and prints whatever present with that. Now coming to your discussion, right? So x is 10, you're taking x is 10, y is 10. Okay, you think like after some points phi equal to 10, after some statements z is 10, right? This is your so whenever the first statement by statement executes, first when x equal to 10, immediately one object with value 10 gets created. It is going to have some address. That address. Now here, if I say in this line, if I say print x, if say print x, it goes to that address and prints that 10 and etc. But whenever y equal to 10, you are saying, right? So first, when y equal to 10, it first immediately checks any object with value 10 already available. First will check. If not available, it will create a 20 here.
Got it.
But here already 10 is available, right? So again, it won't create another object. The same address will be given to y. Now, if we say print y, it goes to this address and prints 10 only. For 10 also means, don't think like a 10, 10, 10, 3 objects gets created. No. Only one object. Duplicate. For example, if x is 10, y is 10, z is 10, w is 10, p is 10. For all that 5 objects won't be created. Only one object, its address is given to x, y, z.
Okay, so if t is equal to 10.0, will it create like, since it is different object type, it creates one more, is it?
It's float type. One object gets created, another object gets created of
Ah.
float type.
Got it.
So here the thing is X, Y, Z, they are sharing the same content to 10. They are sharing the same address this. So if you say like print X equal to print Y or print Z, all are printing the same value 10. Even the addresses also, right? Print ID of X, ID of Y, and ID of Z, all are same, right? Same address. What is that? 1036. Any other doubt? Any other query, right? Anyone? Understood, right? What is happening internally? Just keep one thing in mind. See the contents, same content, only one object. Different contents, different objects created, right? I'll show you these things practically.
Sorry to interrupt, sir, but what if x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20? Sorry, y is equal to will be the same 10 and z is equal to 20. So for the x and y, there will be one object, and z there is will be second object.
Yes,
So
two
totally,
objects. Two
okay,
objects.
okay, thank you.
So Krishna Kant, right? Why we need to know the address details? What would be the helpful for any analysis? Means how many objects are created? X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. Means internally, whenever you define some variables in Python, what is happening? So generally, don't think here X equal 10 means X stores the address I'm saying. Don't say like X storing 10. Whenever I say X equal to 10, X stores the address. Whenever you say print X, it goes to that address and prints 10. So you need to know to which address it is going and printing. So internally, how this memory allocated for the objects you need to know, right? How many objects are created? Single object or multiple objects? Here X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10. How many objects are created? Only one. Whenever I say print X, where it is going, to which object it is going and printing the content? For the same object. Print X, it goes to the same. Print Y, it goes to the same. Print Z, it goes to the same object. Prints it. I have got a query for you. Now try to answer, right? This before I go with case 4. Before I go with case 4, right? Okay. First, I'll go into this case 4 and I'll come back to my queries. Case 4, right? Now try to answer. X is 10 and X is 20. Previously, XY were there. Now I'm saying X is 10, X is 20. Now how many objects created?
2 objects.
2.
Okay, X equal to 10, one object creates with some address first. This is clear. X equal to 20 means one more object with some one address 104090. So if I say print X, what is the X value it is going to print?
20.
Will it print a 10 or will it print a 20 or will it print both or error?
20.
It will print the latest value, right? For example, salary, your salary last year 50,000, your salary this year 80,000. Print salary means what it prints? Latest salary, right? Latest salary. In the same way, print X means it prints 20. What happens to the previous one means it gets removed. X can store the address of one object only. Address of X means 104090, right?
So while declaring, it won't error saying that X is already available. It won't error like that.
So whenever you say X equal to 20, right? Whenever you are recreating this X value equal to 20, immediately the previous one gets removed. Immediately the previous one. If you want to know the inner logic, how this is going to get removed, right? If you want to know this inner logic, what is happening internally, how it is getting removed, there is a concept called garbage collector. Okay, so just hold on. It's too early to discuss about this garbage collector, but I'll make you understand what happens internally whenever same object is created. Just observe this to understand what happens to this x equal to 10, how it is getting removed means. So just everyone try to observe this carefully. Later I discuss in brief with multiple examples about garbage clutter in our regular classes. But now in the case 3 I was discussing, let us see this case 3 neatly. X is 10 I said, Y is 10 I said, Z also 10 I said. For how many objects totally created? Everyone. How many objects totally created?
Only one.
Only one, right? First this object created, this address is written to X. Before creating object for Y, checks if any value, any object with value 10 already available. If available, the same address is given. And for 28 YZ equal 10 also the same address is given, right? So here you need to know something about garbage collector. In a simple way I discuss now. Garbage collector means removes unused or unreferred objects. Unreferred objects from the memory. What is garbage collector? Removes unused or unreferred objects from the memory. Which objects you say it as unused or unreferred objects? Which objects you say as unused or unreferred objects? Objects whose reference count becomes 0. Objects whose reference count means I'm saying RC full form is what? Reference count. Object whose reference count becomes 0. Then those objects we call it as unused or unreferred objects. Then immediately, see this unused or unreferred means whose becomes 0. Whose reference count becomes 0, we call them as unused or unreferred objects. Then immediately these objects gets removed. Immediately this object gets removed by garbage collector automatically. But you may get one query, what is this reference count and what is this reference count becoming 0? So reference count means just number of variables. Observe this, number of variables pointing to an object. So how many variables are pointing to an object will give the reference count, or another way of defining is number of variables pointing to an object or number of variables storing address of a single object. Number of variables storing address of a single object, right? Now just to understand, make you understand what is reference count, what is the when this reference count becomes 0, what will be unused or unreferred objects. Just understand these things. Now what is the reference count of this object 10? Everyone try to observe carefully. What is the reference count of this object 10? Means reference count means number of variables pointing to this. How many variables pointing to this object? X is pointing, Y is pointing, Z is pointing, right? What is the reference count? Hello?
Three reference count.
Reference count is 3. Why this reference count is 3? Because how many variables are pointing to this object, or how many variables storing the address of this object. X is storing this object address, Y is storing this object address, Z is storing this object address. Totally, how many variables are storing this object address? Three
Only
variables.
one.
Three variables, right? X, Y, Z are storing X, Y, and Z. They are storing the addresses of the same. What is address of X? Same. Address of Y? Same. Address of Z? Same. Three variables are storing. That's why reference count 3. Otherwise, three variables are pointing to the same object. So reference count 3. Understood, right? What is reference count? If you go to this case 2, right? What is the reference count of this object 10? How many variables are pointing to it?
3.
Pardon? Once again.
1.
One.
How many variables are pointing to this object 10?
1.
1, right? Reference count is 1. What is the reference count of object 20?
1.
Hari Kumar, right? Try to be in mute. If you have got background noise, try to give response through chat panel, right? Otherwise, it will be removed from the meeting. Fine. So everyone, if you've got any background noise, right, you can just give a response through chat. In the chat, you can give a response. Otherwise, you can just respond through voice. Fine. So what is the reference count of this object to 20? Reference count nothing but how many variables are pointing to this object, to this object 20, how many variables are pointing? Yes.
1.
1, right? Only Y is pointing to this.
1.
Only Y is pointing to this, right? Yes. And for this, only this X is pointing to this. Understood what is reference count? Now, if I come to this current example, what is the reference count of 10? Object 10 means how many variables are pointing to this?
3 variables.
3 variables are pointing, so reference count 3. Slowly I'll modify this Y value to 20. Slowly I'll modify that Y value to 20. Okay, so a new object gets created with some new address. But now Y is pointing to this new object. Y won't point to this old object. Y is pointing to the new. Y is made to point to the new object. Now Y is not pointing to the old one. What is the reference count of the 10? Object 10?
2.
Decreases to 2, right? It was 3, it is decreasing to 2. Because Y was pointing to this, but Y is pointing to a new object. Slowly I'll modify the Z value to 30. One more new object 30 gets created with some new address. The address is given to Z. Now Z is pointing to the new object. Now Z is not pointing to this. What is the reference count of this object 10 now? Everyone. Yes. What is the reference count? Is
1.
1, sir.
1, right? 1. Because previously X, Y, Z were pointing. Reference count was 3. Now Y and Z, they are pointing to 2 different objects. Now only X is pointing to this object 10. So reference count 1. Slowly X value also got modified. Assume X value also got modified to 40. So a 40, a new object got created with some address. That address is given to X. Now X is pointing to the new object. X is not pointing to this object. What is the reference count?
0.
0.
0, right? Means what is your observation here? This object 10, none of the variables are pointing to it. None of the variables are pointing to this. Reference count is 0, means it is unreferred object. It is unused object. This object is not used by any variable, or it is unreferred. Unreferred object or unused object. These kind of objects immediately gets removed by garbage. Very simple, right? Whenever reference count becomes 0, here I have written, right? Whenever any object reference count becomes 0, immediately that object gets removed from the memory by the garbage collector, right? Understood how a object reference count becomes 0 when garbage collector removes an object from the memory. Understood, right? Any query in this? What is reference count? What is garbage collector? When it gets executed? When it removes? When an object reference count becomes 0? What is unused object? What is unreferred objects, right? Everyone understood? Any query in this?
Understood.
Understood, right? So based on this observation, I'll go back to this case 4. X equal to 20, one object. So print X means it always prints that 20 only, right? It won't print this. What is the reference count of this object? Forget about X equal to 20 for some time. Say about X equal to 10. What is the reference count of it?
1.
1.
Right? 1. Reference count is 1. Now slowly X value modified to 20. Now X is pointing to the new object. X is not pointing to this. What is reference count of this object? 10.
0.
0.
Reference count 0 means immediately this object gets removed. Right?
Yes, sir. Garbage collector.
Now you understood why how this object got removed. So reference count 0 means immediately that object gets removed from the memory. Now this only available. That's why print X means this only printing. Understood, right? So these 4 cases I'll be showing you practically in the next class. Practically how to print the content, how to print the address, and how to print their types. So we are running out of time today. So I thought of showing. Understood, right? Later I'll be discussing about garbage collector with multiple examples, right? In our daily regular class. But just I've given an overview of garbage collector and reference count and how this object is going to get removed, right? Any other queries as part of today's session? Just I was discussing what happens internally whenever you define a variable in Python. The object gets created with some address. If you how to print the content, print X, how to print the address, ID of X, type of X. 3 functions are available, right? Using which we can print their content type, right? Fine. Any more queries?
Sir, as far as the practice session is concerned, so which ID you're going to explain, like PyCharm and something?
PyCharm. General, I will be giving you the knowledge and all the IDs, right?
Okay.
I'll give, but mostly on PyCharm. PyCharm is the mostly used one for Python, right?
Okay. Sure, sir. Thanks.
Will address be the same for strings as well? If X equal to RAM, Y equal to RAM, Z equal to RAM. X is RAM, Y is RAM, Z is RAM means same value, right? If value is same, only one object. If that values are different objects. That's it for all that. It's for all the data types. Okay, fine. So yes, any query?
Sir, how much space will this one particular class object hold?
One?
This object. I mean, everything is object here. One class.
Everything is an object and a class and object, right? Object means a collection of many. Object is a collection of variables and methods, right? So it doesn't have any specific memory, right? Just like other programming language, they are data types. Here there won't be any specific size for that.
So
it depends. It keeps on changing, that there won't be any fixed size in the case of Python. In case of other programming, you can say, right, okay, integer always occupies so and so size. In C language 2 bytes, in Java 4 bytes. In Python it is a object. Object means it keeps on increasing, means object you can have different multiple. See here, there are some kinds of objects I'm supposed to discuss. Object holding single value, object holding multiple values. Here, object to holding single value, this we call it as fundamental data type. These objects are holding single value, right? Fundamental, all fundamental data type like integer, float, string, they hold single value. But object to holding multiple values, collection of values, collection data type, we say list, tuple, sets, dictionaries, right? So objects, object means it can hold single value, object means it can hold multiple values. The objects which are holding multiple values, we call them as collections, collection data types. Object holding single value like integer, float, boolean, string, right? That we call it as fundamental types. And again, in that object, we have got immutable object, immutable objects like that. So these are objects in Python, right? All these are objects in Python. Right? So whenever I'm discussing object-oriented programming with Python, I'll be briefing you more on this object, but it will be too early to discuss about that objects in class, right? Fine. Any other query?
So today's session is actually fifth session, right, sir? Number 5.
Yes, yes. Today's session is fifth session. Okay. So, okay, not a problem about, don't worry about the videos, right? So once again, you can check your Google Drive. Otherwise, meanwhile, you can just check your Google, YouTube, right? That links are given. So even you can see that links in the chart panel about the payment details, procedures, videos, course content, everything is pasted in that. So not a worry. So anyhow, a WhatsApp group is going to get created on Monday or Tuesday. A WhatsApp group will be created from the students who got enrolled, right? So directly you can have interaction with me if you're facing any problem with the videos or notes or other things, right? Notes you will be getting, right, and from Monday or Tuesday, a regular basis. Fine. So any more queries? Fine.
Next class on Monday only, right, sir?
So
Monday
tomorrow Sunday there is no class. We'll meet on Monday same time at 8 p.m. with the same link, right? Monday will be that last that is sixth session, right, on Python. So from Tuesday you need to get Tuesday, the link is going to be changed. So Monday also you can attend that session using the same link, same time, right, to see more on this Python. So I'll just show you these things practically, followed by fundamental and collection types, right? Okay. So I'm stopping here for today. If I'm done with the queries.
Sir, one query. Say, in case of a performance issue, if we are not able to know how much data type is holding, how can we troubleshoot it in that case?
So how much a data type is storing means,
I mean, even a collection, if we are not able to find how much a collection will store, memory, how much it will accumulate.
So it's no way related to the processing, right? How much it is storing, nothing, right? It's no way related to our processing. So I mean to say that everything is a class. These things are class, right? Class doesn't have a fixed size. So in other programming, we will have some size, right? 2 bytes, 4 bytes like that. But here they'll be occupying some, but they won't have any fixed size. That is classes in Python, right? So in brief, if you want to understand this much more internally, so everything I cannot say that entire object-oriented programming now. So later I'll be just briefing you about this object, how an object is going to be created. Means inbuilt objects are there, user defines ones are there, how we can create them and how they are getting stored of this memory. But internally, if we store any value in Python, an object gets created. It's going to occupy some address, right? Okay. So okay, so I'm stopping here for today. We'll continue on Monday, right? Thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night.